Hello, welcome to EFD, where today we're looking at 5 attacking midfielders who don't get nearly the credit they deserve. We've got a couple of stars, some bargain buys, and one bright young talent, including my shirt. Let's jump right in. 5. Christen Eriksen. Ask any football fan to rank Tottenham's best players, and chances are you'll see Harry Kane and Dele Alli at the top of the list. But there is one man who makes the whole team tick, and that is 25-year-old Danish midfielder Christen Eriksen. Last year he made more chances than any other Premier League player, kicking De Bruyne into second and Ozil into third, though he did play 300 minutes more than both of them. His 3.2 key passes per game rank him 9th in Europe and bagged him 15 league assists, a tally only bettered by Forsberg and KDB. In total, Tottenham had 669 shots last season, and 229 of those were assisted or taken by Eriksen. That's not far off Messi's 248, and it means the Dane had a hand in 34% of Spurs' attack, and that's not counting the moves he was involved in before the final ball. The former Ajax man is also lethal from dead ball situations. He's tied with Juan Mata and Gylfi Sigurdsson for the most free kick goals in the Prem since 2012. That's 6. A statistic made more remarkable by the fact that Eriksen didn't come to the UK until 2013. He even does his fair share in defence too, leading the Pochettino counter-press with 1.7 tackles and interceptions a match, more than centre mid Aaron Ramsey, and the same as the famously hard-working Alexis Sanchez at rivals Arsenal. But somehow Tottenham have locked their superstar down until 2020 and are paying him just 70k a week. Oh, just 70k. That's 30k less than Troy Deeney earns at Watford. 4. Pascal Gross. If you thought Christen Eriksen's season was insane, wait until you hear about Pascal Gross. The German has spent the last 5 years with Ingolstadt, including 2 campaigns in the Bundesliga, scoring 5 and assisting 4 last season. That may not sound impressive, but Ingolstadt got relegated and scored just 36 goals all season, making Gross responsible for a quarter of their attacking output. And, if anything, that makes him look worse than he is. The 26-year-old produced a crazy 3.2 chances a game. That's the same as KDB, and the 7th best record across Europe's top 5 leagues. And he did that despite being played out wide and even in defensive midfield for a third of the campaign. Like Eriksen, Gross is a set-piece specialist. Last year he created 1.5 chances per game from corners alone. That's more than anyone in Europe bar Dimitri Payet and Schalke's Johannes Geis. In fact, Gross created as many chances just from corners as Riyad Mahrez and Dele Alli did in total. Gross is no luxury player either. He puts 3.2 combined tackles and interceptions per 90 in the Bundesliga, surpassing Nemanja Matic and equaling Sergio Ramos. With all this quality and experience in the German top flight, you might expect that Gross would have cost someone a small fortune this summer, especially when Gylfi Sigurdsson's going for 50 effing million. But rather than head for Dortmund or Munich, Gross joined Premier League new boys Brighton for the princely sum of £3 million. Where were you, Rodgers? He's the diamond for the cost of a cubic zirconia. Great episode of The Simpsons, that. 3. Jonathan Viera. 27-year-old midfielder Jonathan Viera has had a phenomenal last 2 years. The season prior, he grabbed 7 goals and 7 assists for Las Palmas in La Liga. And the year before that, it was 10 goals and 9 assists, meaning he's been involved in the same number of goals as Philippe Coutinho since 2015. Linked with Swansea and Everton as a replacement and alternative to Sigurdsson respectively, Viera is much more rounded. 68% of the Icelanders' chances created last season came from free kicks and corners, while for the Spaniard it was just 17%. Instead, he was devastating in the open field, playing 10 through balls that led to chances across the campaign, second in Europe only to Lionel Messi and ahead of KDB, Pogba and Dybala. Viera can dribble too. He completes over 2 take-ons a game, and when he tries to go past his marker, he succeeds 2/3 of the time. Those numbers are similar to Man City new boy Bernardo Silva, But unlike the Portuguese, Viera wouldn't cost a fortune. His buyout clause is set at €30 million. Add in an 85% pass accuracy despite his advanced position, and you could have an outstanding attacking talent playing for a mid-level club who is primed to slot in a possession-based side. Somebody snap him up. 2. Bruno Fernandes. We've got a big name for you at number 1, but before we get there, we've found an exciting prospect in Bruno Fernandes. He is the youngest man on our list at 22 and has joined Sporting Lisbon for just €7.5 million after 4 years in Serie A with Udinese and Sampdoria respectively. The Portuguese seems to be pretty good at everything, and yes, we are a rare breed. At Udinese 2 years ago, he played a central midfield role with a very impressive 3.8 tackles and interceptions per game, while at Sampdoria, in a more advanced position, that dropped to 1.4. But there was a big increase in his attacking value, as his chances created soared from 1.9 to 2.7 per 90. That means that Fernandes could plug a number of holes in midfield, something Sporting could use after 15 years without a title. And those 2.7 key passes per game make him the second best creator in Serie A last season, behind only Iva Banega and ahead of Mo Salah and Paulo Dybala. He also scored 5 goals and so contributed directly to a goal every 246 minutes. That's ahead of David Silva and Paul Pogba, the latter taking 290. That's despite the fact that he played for a team which finished 10th last year, with 34-year-old Quagliarella up top. Though yet to be capped by Portugal, at this rate it's just a matter of time for our boy Bruno. 1. Lorenzo Insigne. Coming in at number 1 is Lorenzo Insigne. The 5'4" diminutive Italian had his best year yet in 2016-17, scoring 18 league goals and grabbing 9 assists in Serie A, as Napoli outscored every in the division, including champions Juventus. Insigne is actually less of an out-and-out creator than the other players on our list, but he still produced around 2 chances a game last year. That's not exceptional, yes, but Napoli share the creative burden around their attackers, with 5 players racking up 2 or more key passes per match. By comparison, only 3 Barcelona players manage that. That's Messi, Neymar and Arda Turan. And Neymar's off. Unbelievable. On the topic of the Blaugrana, Barca could do a lot worse than pick up Insigne to fill the hole left by Neymar. He'd fit right into their possession-based game, as he was the only forward in Europe's top 5 leagues last year to complete more than 2,000 passes, more than 700 ahead of second place Jose Callejon. And of those 2,000 passes, 840 were in the final third. That's 42% for all you boffins out there. Meanwhile, Insigne gets off shots from everywhere, making a huge 4.5 attempts on goal every match, the 7th highest in Europe. Admittedly, more than half of those came from outside the area, but the Italy international is still taking 2 shots inside the box, and he could be coached out of his trigger-happy ways, much like Luis Suarez was, if he arrived at the new camp. Unfortunately for any suitors, he's now signed up until 2022 at a club where he began his career. Good news for fans of the Partenope. So guys, that was our 5 underrated attacking midfielders in Europe. Have we missed anyone out? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to watch the latest 2 episodes of Stat Wars The Champions if you enjoyed this. That's George versus Smithy and Joe versus Howson, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, mum. Okay.